guys, this is Stormmouse03. Welcome back to Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition. Just got done doing a bunch of exploration and side questing, and now it's time for the second big conversation that you have with each one of your crewmates. So we're just I'm gonna start with Liara over here and work my way down.
I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
It's like I came in here specifically to talk to you.
Maybe we could pick up where we left off. You were telling me about your interest in the Protheans.
Actually, I think I was talking about my interest in you, and making a fool of myself in the process. As I said, I am not used to dealing with people, especially humans. I did not really know much about your species when we first met, Shepard. I found it hard to take humanity seriously. Your kind always seemed so rushed and high-strung.
Just some more evidence of the Asari being the elves of space. Like their sort of long view of life and emotions and stuff like that is very traditionally elvish if we're looking at fantasy, and sci-fi is just space fantasy, so
We don't have the luxury of time. An Asari can live for 1,000 years. We're lucky if we hit 150.
That is true. At first I thought that was a weakness of your species. After spending time with you and your crew, however, I think it may actually be an advantage. You humans are creatures of action. You pursue your goals with an almost indomitable determination. It is an admirable trait, but also an intimidating one.
You're scared of us?
Unfortunately, the rest of the galaxy sees humanity as something of a bully. You run over anyone in your path to get what you want. It is up to people like you to change their minds, Shepard.
I'm doing the best I can, Liara.
There is a reason the Council chose you to become a Spectre. They saw something special in you. The best of what humanity has to offer. I looked into your history. I know what happened on Akuz. The fact that you survived shows a remarkable strength.
You didn't need to go behind my back. I would have told you whatever you wanted to know.
I apologize, Commander. After our last conversation, I was afraid I would say something stupid again. I wanted to know more about you, to understand what made you into the woman you are. There is something compelling about you, Shepard.
and see, now that makes perfect sense to me, that that having some sort of interest in someone, being who Liara is, sort of shy and introverted, would go to the extranet and look up things about you rather than talk to you directly, because she's worried about ruining a potential friendship or connection or whatever. Makes total sense.
Are you sure you're interested in me? Or is it my visions of the Protheans?
I admit, your connection to the Protheans had something to do with my initial interest, but it has grown beyond that. You intrigue me, Shepard, but I was not sure if it was appropriate to act on my feelings. I thought there might already be a relationship between you and Lieutenant Alenko.
So this is an example of the sort of auto-romance thing that that BioWare does, and you know, I guess I get it, but it would be nice for them to allow the player to pursue a relationship, or to have something that you say that comes up in conversation that sort of flags that, rather than it just auto assuming relationship status. And having talked to a couple of people, they do this with all three of these characters, with Liara, with Ashley, and with Kaidan, who are the three romance options of the first game. So I wish that they didn't do this, you know, where it sort of auto puts you into a relationship with someone, really. And then it's kind of difficult to backpedal out of that if that's not what you wanted. I don't think that they should place a character in a relationship with anybody without having this talk that we're about to have now about, hey, are you interested in me? You know, like, I think it's fine for the NPCs to pursue a relationship with the player character. That's totally fine and makes perfect sense, right? If someone is interested in you, they might speak up. It doesn't necessarily have to be on you to initiate that, but it should at least be a conversation and not sort of an assumption that you're in a relationship with someone else. But here is, I guess, how I reconcile this in my head is these characters are interested in Shepard. And so it may be less to do with the fact that they think that Shepard is in a relationship with them because of something Shepard has done, because let's be real, Shepard hasn't shown any special interest in anyone up till now. The way that I've been playing her, she's been nice to everyone, and so there's no reason for anyone to assume that you're in a relationship with anybody, anyone more so than anyone else, because I've talked the same amount to Wrex as I have to Caden, and been nice to both, and so there's no reason to assume that she is interested in someone. But what does make sense is that Caden is interested in Shepard, and so if the crew members, obviously they interact somewhat with each other, and they might talk or gossip and, stuff going around, they might assume that, like, hey, maybe there's something going on there because he has shown interest and Shepard's been nice to him, right? And so to me, that's the only way that this really makes sense, because I think it is kind of stupid that you're assumed to be in a relationship with someone that you've been nice to the same way that you've been nice to everybody else. So that's the only way that that makes sense to me. And they do this with all of the relationships, right? So if you're male Shepard, it's sort of, they assume that you're interested in Ashley, or that Ashley's interested in you, and they kind of auto put you on the track to a relationship with people, and then you have to turn them away if you don't want that to move forward. And I don't love that structure. I wish that it was a little bit more, I don't know, of a smooth process. I also wish it wasn't quite this quick. Again, like, this is the second conversation that, like, the second actual conversation that I have had with each one of these crew members. And so getting that personal that quickly is a little bit rushed in my opinion, but it is that way for all the characters. You're starting to build up your friendships, and you're starting to build trust, and I suppose it makes sense that if people are interested in each other, that they might say so. So anyway, we're going to, Liara is the romance that I'm pursuing, so here we go.
The lieutenant and I are just friends, nothing more.
My mistake then. I am not as adept at understanding human relationships as I thought. But what about us, Shepard? Is there a mutual attraction, or was I wrong about that too?
No, you were right. There is something between us.
I knew it, and I knew you felt it too. But does this not seem rather strange? Why do I feel so close to you? We have only known each other a short time. We are from two different species. We have almost nothing in common. This makes no sense.
Quit thinking like a scientist. Logic doesn't work when it comes to relationships. Just let yourself get swept up in the storm.
You make it sound so chaotic, so dangerous.
Don't tell me a little danger puts you off.
This is all a bit overwhelming. I am not used to this. I need some time.
Take all the time you need, Liara. I'll be here.
Thank you, Shepard. Let's just talk about something else for now.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
All right. So that's that. Now we have to deal with Caden. And I'm gonna really try hard to maintain a friendship with him. As I recall, it's hard to do. Because like those dialogue options, they were very clear cut, right? It's like, hey, are you and Caden a thing? Yes, we are a thing. No, we're not a thing. It's not like that. Or GTFO. Like, get away from me. And then there was the second question of, well, but are you interested in me? And, yes, no, oh my God, I'm offended because you're a woman. And so, it was pretty clear cut. As far as I remember, the choices with Caden are not as clear cut, and so we're gonna try.
Do you have some time to talk now, Commander?
Of course. Have a seat.
We've played it pretty close to the book so far, but we're a long way from backup. We've got some tough calls to make. I'm just saying, try to leave yourself a way out. I've seen what cutting corners can do, and I'd hate to have that happen to you, Shepard. Commander.
Shepard, Commander. Okay.
That's not the appropriate way to address your commanding officer, Lieutenant.
Sorry, ma'am. Maybe I got a bad signal. And if you're maybe there's someone else you'd rather confide in. Ma'am.
Someone? You're referring to our young Prothean expert.
I think she's older than both of us put together, but yeah. There's a lower deck rumor that she's interested in you as more than a source of Prothean data. She's a very interesting lady, to my tastes, but I never claimed to be big on alien culture.
See, unclear. Because it's like, this obviously is saying, no, it's not like that with Liara. This is being an asshole. And this is this flirty? Because this is the only option that's not being an asshole. Or denying the previous conversation that I literally just had.
You seem awfully worried about my personal affairs.
It's just that we don't have much downtime these days. I like being around you, but I don't want to take up your personal time.
And then once again, denying that we're in a relationship when that's literally what we just talked about. Being an asshole. This is the only one that makes sense, that isn't either of those things, but it also seems kind of ambiguous, doesn't it?
Look, you didn't want to talk about Liara, did you? What's your real issue?
You're right. Sorry. It wasn't, Liara's not my main concern. I'm not questioning any decision you've made, Shepard. Let me be clear about that. It's just my experience that once someone lets something slide, it tends to pick up speed. You get my meaning?
Talk to me, Caden. You got a little black rain cloud sitting over your head.
I'll try to keep the deck dry. You know the records about the biotic training out on Jump Zero? They're all classified, because the Alliance made mistakes. After first contact, kinetics was set up to track element zero exposures and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, kinetics could bring in experts instead of taking it slow.
Is there some reason we couldn't learn it on our own?
They didn't know where to start. Hell, it took a couple of years to even link biotics and ezo. Forget trying to get the kids to move stuff. They had trouble just helping them not break their own limbs. And their choice of teachers didn't help much.
The only experts would have to be aliens.
Dead on. Turians, actually. That's why kinetics kept it a secret. They were afraid of what people back home would think, asking the Turians for help when we just fought a war with them.
The Asari would have been more acceptable than the Turians.
Yes, but the company didn't go through the Citadel. It would have made Earth look weak, so they discreetly hired some Turian mercenaries.
I'm sure kinetics did what they thought was best.
It wasn't best for us. They brought in an ex-military Turian named Commander Vernus. To introduce himself, he liked to say, "I was at the helm of the dreadnought that killed your father." Well, I told him my dad wasn't in the war. He'd retired to Vancouver. My family had an inland home that matured to new beachfront. Vernus had it in for me after that. He cut corners, pushed hard. I mean, you either came out a Superman or a wreck. A lot of kids snapped. A few died. The point of all of this, I guess, is that when you cut corners, it's not always obvious who pays for it.
So why are you telling me this? Is there something I can do to help you get over it?
I'm 32, Shepard. You don't serve as long as I have without coming to terms with yourself. You also learn that if someone is special to you, you help them. Try to keep them from making mistakes.
Okay.
So you think you have leave to talk like we're more than officers?
I got some signals. Maybe some static too, I guess. If I'm out of line, just say the word.
Oh good, this is much more clear.
Sorry, Caden. This was just a battlefield thing.
There's my answer then. I'm sorry to have bothered you, Commander. I got some mixed signals. With your permission, I should return to my duties.
Okay, so that was a little bit less than being a complete jerk to him, which I like, and hopefully quashed the whole romance thing sufficiently. So that's good. He actually asked and acknowledged some stuff, and once again, like, this one was more clear about, you know, why he assumes that you might be interested in Liara, because she's interested in you, and that's been talked about. And so I like to think that the same is true about that, you know, thing that Liara thought about you and Caden. Or, if you're male ship, about Ashley. So that's good. It's better. And we still got to learn about, you know, Caden's past and the whole biotic training and everything, which is really interesting, and it makes sense that, you know, humanity is really, it just goes more into that facet of humanity's place here in the galaxy, and really trying to fast track their catch up on other races, and doing some questionable things to do that. You know, getting a bunch of kids who have biotic potential, sometimes they're even purposefully exposing them to something like Element Zero to give them biotic powers, because you remember he talked about, you know, they used to rely on people who became biotics through accidents, and then they started, you know, trying to engineer them, you know, to try to master that and catch up with the rest of the galaxy, who all have, you know, all the other races have people who have biotic potential, other than some. Like, some races have more biotic affinity than others, so like we'll kind of see later, like the Volus really don't have a lot of biotics. There are probably other races that don't, but it's like, it would make sense that humanity would see biotics as being people who, as a thing that like some of the alien races have sort of above humanity, and wanting to quickly sort of catch up to where other races are. That idea of, cutting quarters to things and not earning them, and trying to go too far too fast, and his caution there, I think is actually good advice, despite the whole like romance stuff laced throughout it. It still is a good conversation for you to have with him, and he provides some nice perspective on that. So just more world building, more lore building, and more opportunities to get to know your crewmates and who they are and where they're coming from, and kind of why they have developed the personalities that they have, and how to maybe push them beyond those, as we will see with a couple of these other conversations. So, good stuff.
Commander, good to see you.
You've been with CSEC a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
I bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating him?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab, or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
Terrible.
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the psychos. I remember this one L-Corps diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs. Had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
Yeah, this that we're about to talk about, really horrific.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development. But there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set. Somebody's making a killing out there.
Krogans have redundant organs. That's a thing that we'll learn later, so that math does check out.
What'd you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation, to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
You mean threatening? Was that really necessary?
Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it paid off. One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up, and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. He just used them to make more organs. But they wouldn't listen.
That is a tough call right there, you know? And, you know, I can see both sides of that. Like, the hostages, you don't want to just give up on them and leave them for dead. But there is also that sort of realist, practical argument to be made of, but if this guy gets away, it's gonna be worse. So, I'm playing Shepard idealistic, so we're gonna have the Paragon responses here, but in truth, I'm a lot more neutral on this particular subject.
It's not worth the risk. You pursue the vessel and disable it. That's the best choice.
They sent the military after him, but he got away just the same. Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him and his policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
See, like, Dormouse says this, but Paragon Shepard says this.
If you don't care about the fate of those hostages, then you're no better than he is. You're just a terrorist with a badge.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't make it any easier, but I see your point. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Well, let's go get him, Garrus.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salian?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
You're in luck.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that, but Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
Yeah, that guy definitely needs to be stopped. And, you know, I think that Paragon Shep is a little bit hard on Garrus there, you know, because, but it does sort of push him to think beyond that kind of hard line approach of, well, this is the practical thing. And it does kind of get him to start thinking more about, you know, well, but what is, like, his own morality and that sort of thing, and that's pretty cool. So,
Commander?
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was just watching some mail from home.
Oh, before I go, we saw Caden in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute. Later, sis.
Let's pretend this never happened.
honestly, you know, I do think that that Caden and Ashley would have been, they would have made a pretty decent couple.
Are you interested in the lieutenant, Chief?
Fraternization is against regulations, ma'am. Don't ask, don't tell. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Your family seems to be important to you.
Yeah, we've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
And now we get to learn a little bit more about Ash and her relationship with her family, which is nice. And having the spacer background for Shepard, you do have a lot in common with her, which is cool, and I think helps with that, building that bond of friendship between the two of them.
Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class. He was real proud when I made Chief. First thing he did was salute.
We don't get to ask about that right now, I don't think, but we will find out more about that later, which is a big key to Ashley's personality.
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while Dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and Dad both wanted to see new worlds. She gave up her career to raise us, though.
You have more than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
Where did you grow up?
All over. Same as you, I expect. We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right? I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
And this is definitely something that I think a lot of people can relate to. You know, being close to your family because you aren't able to form those close bonds with other people because you're moving around a lot, either because your family's in the military or they just move around because of your whatever job your parents might have, right? I think this is something that probably resonates with a lot of folks.
I was an only child, but I get the idea. At least one of my parents was always on duty.
Yeah, military families, eh? With schedules like that, it's a wonder we ever have kids anymore. Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen LY away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
Boys, no control. That's not true.
If he really liked her, he wouldn't be pushy.
Yeah, of course. If he didn't ask at all, I'd wonder if he thought Sarah was ugly. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
Of course.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
And again, I think she's just a really relatable person, I think. The whole, like, racism stuff aside, which I have feelings about and we'll talk about later, like that relationship that she has with her siblings and that kind of story, like, how many people can relate to the whole, middle school nonsense or even high school nonsense thing of somebody likes you and they, like, for whatever reason things don't work out and then all your friends gang up against them and then they're mad and, like, it's just very high school or juvenile drama kind of stuff, right? And being the older sibling, having to try to guide your younger sibling through that, or even like a younger cousin or niece or nephew, I think a lot of people have someone in their life who they've tried to guide through those things, and it just, I don't know, it's just a relatable story, and helps with, again, like, just building that connection between the two.
Your sister's something else. But you didn't mention your father at all. Was he on deployment?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
I didn't know you liked classical literature.
Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Are you a fanatic? Again, some of these options, man.
Everyone has the right to believe what they want. It says so in the Alliance Charter, only with fancier words.
I'm glad you're open-minded about it. I've met a few people who are really weirded out by my faith. Because I work in space, I can't believe in a higher power? Jeez. Hello, have you people looked out the window? How can you look at this galaxy and not believe in something? I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
And that piece is interesting too, from like this sort of world building perspective of, which is sort of the opposite of how things are now. I think that most people this day and age have some sort of religious or spiritual beliefs, right? Even if you don't follow an organized religion, most people, I think, have some sort of spirituality practice that they believe in or follow. And this implies that that is not true in this version of the future, right? That many people don't believe that, and it might be sort of stigmatized to have religious or spiritual beliefs, which is interesting from this sort of world-building perspective. And I guess it makes kind of sense that, seeing what's out there and finding aliens and not finding God or gods might push people away from that sort of thing. But I think that her perspective makes a lot of sense too, that, all of this stuff having some sort of divine sort of plan or power behind it, does make sense, right? Like, I think both perspectives do make sense. And it's nice to have this sort of, I guess, connection to it with a character, right? Where you can see how those beliefs have impacted somebody, And I think this is a mark against people sort of, I don't know, pushing her off as the person who's like discriminatory and racist and whatever, because it's like she knows what it's like to be discriminated against, and any racist stuff about Ashley is, in my opinion, it's a product of naivety, like lack of experience with other races, or the propaganda that she grew up around, being in the human military, not being around a lot of aliens. But I don't think that there's any sort of malice behind it, right? It's not aliens are terrible because they're aliens, blah, they should be beneath us, this and that. It's more of a lack of understanding about other cultures, right? So, yeah. And to me, like, that matters, whether you have malicious intent or not, because if you don't have malicious intent, then there is room for growth, and we're going to see that. So, Wrex.
What do you want, Shepard?
Well, I want to talk to you, Wrex.
Why did you become a mercenary?
Lots of reasons.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
What happened?
I was betrayed. I was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight Turians, Arians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes. A meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
Sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
And there it is.
Jared was your father?
He was. Until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
Oh boy, Wrex. And now we start to see a little bit more about, that hope that percolates under the surface for him, and why it's been so quashed, that he wanted better for his people, and he tried to get people to see that, to get his people to see that, but he was opposed by his father, no less. And kind of that taught him this lesson of my people are never going to change kind of thing. Also, killing your father, regardless of the circumstances of him being an asshole, has to be something hard, And so, I don't know, it builds his character up very nicely to be this, and like I kind of talked about before, the Krogan who is different, right? He's very wise, if jaded at this point, and he can see a future for his people that is different than what they have now. He just doesn't know how to attain it, and doesn't necessarily believe that he can be the one to spark it, right? And maybe that no one can. And so part of the development of this is kind of trying to get him to see that maybe he can. And that's part of what makes Shepard's character so cool, right? That she sort of inspires people to move toward the things and go for their goals, even when they seem impossible. Because it's like, if Shepard can do all of these impossible things, and she believes in me, and she believes that I can too, maybe I can make a difference in the same kind of way, and sort of unlocking that potential in people, I think is that's neat, right, for the player character to do, to sort of inspire that in others. So let's talk to him more about his family.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard? I've got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
Do tell.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine. Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Taun Actus, A Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people. He's got several bases where he stores his goods. All fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
So long, Wrex.
Shepard.
So yeah, I was talking to my friend, good old Iron Praetorian, a little bit about Shepard and being the person who just makes things happen, right? That person who is sort of that spark and has that force of will and force of personality about them, you know. And he was saying that throughout history there are these people, and it's not just this fantasy construct, right? That there are those people who are sort of these natural leaders that inspire other people to greatness. You know, they perform great things themselves and inspire that in others, and that is the kind of character that Shepard is. And you get to see that happening with all of these people. You know, you inspire them to be more, you know, because of an example that you set. And you'll see that with people like Garrus, for example, you know, the way that you interact with him kind of determines, it sort of shapes his own feelings about the law enforcement and about himself and where he fits into that, you know, and it sort of helps shape his decisions and his personality and his morality to a degree, right? I think, like, the way that we've been talking to him, it opens him up to being a little bit less of a hard line, logic and reason kind of person. And, you know, and if you go the other route with him, you can sort of push him more in that direction, right? But the point is that, you know, the way that you interact and the way that you talk with someone influences them and the way that they're thinking when they respect you and when you are close, right? And like, he's just one example. I think pretty much all of these characters go through their own kind of like similar journey, where they are shaped by the experiences they have and their interactions with Shepard. And then they also sort of all grow to be sort of more, and to really try for more lofty goals, right? Beyond what they think at this point they can accomplish. And so Tally is a good example of that. Let's talk to her.
Shepard, I need to talk to you. It's important.
Is something wrong?
You know the data you took from those Geth control nodes? The information you uploaded to Alliance Control? I want a copy of it.
Yeah.
You want to bring this data back to the migrant fleet?
Those files have information that could be vital to our efforts to understand the Geth. It could be the key to helping us reclaim our homeworld.
And so now we see, she never mentioned this before, this idea of like reclaiming our homeworld, but now you can tell that that's been a thought in the back of her mind, and she's putting this piece in there as like, this could help us do that. And perhaps before now, it was kind of like this thing of, that's far-fetched, it might never happen, you know, get that out of your head, Tali. But now it's kind of like, it's come back up. Oh, maybe we could do something about this, you know? And obviously she may have never expected to leave on her pilgrimage and find something this important. But when put in the situation to do something, she wants to do something. And once again, I think that's an example of how, these characters that sort of come together, the sort of hero characters, the squad, right? Show that they have those things inside of them, right? It's like you have people who, when put in the position to do something, to make changes and to make something of themselves and to make things better for their world, they take that opportunity, and you have the people who don't. And these are people who take that opportunity, and you can see that, like, clearly maybe it's implying that, like, Shepard had some kind of radar for these people and sort of grabs them and collects them and positions them in her crew, his or her crew. But it's this coming together of people who are all sort of similar in that way of, if I can do something, I want to do it. And they just needed that little bit of an opportunity and a push.
If I give you this data, your pilgrimage is over. You'll go back to your own people.
Not right away. I'll stay with you as long as it takes to stop Saren. But my people need this.
You think you can use this information to destroy your enemy?
Not right away. We will need to study it. It could take years, but it will give us new insight into how the Geth have changed and evolved over the past centuries.
Absolutely, Tally. It's yours.
Go ahead. Make a copy.
My people, I owe you a great debt. One I can never repay. The only thing I can offer in return is what you already have. My solemn promise to stay with you until Saren and his Geth armies are defeated.
I never wanted anything more.
Thank you, Shepard.
Alright. So that's everybody. That's the crew, right? We learn a lot more about some of them and a little bit more about others. We have initiated romance with my chosen romantic partner. Although I will say, all of the romances that carry from 1 through the entire series are quite good, and I include Garrus and Tally in that. I think that all of those romances have nice arcs, because it's like you establish things here, even with Garrus and Tally, who you couldn't romance in this game, because perhaps they didn't realize that people would want to, but you do form a nice bond, a good friendship with both of them that begins here and has a nice arc through the other games, right? And I think that those are probably the best written, and by those I mean Liara, Kaidan, Ashley, Garrus, Tally. All pretty well written and have nice arcs and nice conclusion. They all can have really good chemistry with Shepard, depending on, who you have an affinity toward, right? And they just have the most screen time, right? Like, they have the most time over the series to build up your relationship with them, because they all start here. And it's not that the romance options in the other games are bad, because some of those characters are really interesting and really good and could make really good, matches for Shepard, and they have their own nice arcs in those games that they are in. But I don't know that it just sucks that they don't get as much sort of development as those 5. So go for who you want, right? Everybody is free to make their own decision that way, but I just think the ones that have a little bit stronger of a narrative arc are the ones that start here and get the better build up. So Just my opinion. Anyway, we have some missions that we have chosen to accept. So we gotta find Dr. Salion and destroy him because he's a terrible person. And get Rex's armor for him, which we're definitely going to do as well. So we are in the vicinity of Rex's side quest here, the Argos Row cluster, and then so we'll do that first, and then we'll go find Dr. Salion and make sure that we take both of our allies with us to do those things. So Tuntao is in the Phoenix system of the Argus Row. So and that's where we're gonna be going to. And now I already went to this planet and did like the mining and picking up the collectibles and stuff. So we're just going to go and deal with Rex's armor. So our biotic strength of this team with Liara and Wrex is off the chain. We are heading down to this hidden structure. Whoops. And we're firing at nothing. They did some good retexturing of these places, like just the ground texture, having those little bits of rocks, and on some planets grass and things. Just, it makes them look a lot better than they did in the original. And, like, you know, this game isn't going to win any awards for, like, graphics or anything, but the graphics look so much better. Like, look at those tires, right? Like, they look so much better now than they did in the original, and I'm sure there's a million videos out there with like side-by-side comparisons and stuff that you can find, but just from looking at it right now, like, again, this isn't like the most beautiful graphics that exist in gaming this day and age, but it is a really, really good upgrade from what they were originally. Also, look at Rex's armor. Look at his armor. He's so pink. And white. And cute. Like, he looks like a plushie. Look at him in his armor. He looks like a plushie. You could just squeeze him. Okay. Moving on.
This is the place. My armor's here somewhere.
Yes, it is, Wrex, and we're gonna get it for you. Don't you even worry about that. Alright. So I still have a few achievements that I'm working on. Okay. Hopefully they're coming after us now. Let's back up. Because sometimes, come on back. Sometimes when these people rush you, you get the few that just start rushing, and it's hard to, like, there's a ton of crap inside that area that makes it kind of hard to get in a good position. Alright, dude. Right here. Let's use stasis again. Like I said, I'm still working on a few achievements here. Stasis is one of them. there we go. Let's use that on him. Yeah, so still working on stasis. I'm still working on AI hacking, but I'm gonna have Tally for that. And
Enemy is everywhere!
still working on... Man, that guy took a shit ton of damage. So yeah, so stasis, AI hacking, and there's one other one. I'm still needing. Yeah, neural shock. Can do that with these losers. Alright, here we go. We'll do it on this guy. Yeah, there's so much cover in here, it makes it difficult to pick out anybody. And since your powers, you have to have a direct line of sight on somebody when you're trying to use your powers on them, or else it just gets blocked and doesn't work. It makes it very difficult. Look at that shield regeneration on this game. Like that. Come on, man. That shield and health regen on these guys is something else. Do it, Liara. Not. I don't know who you were even targeting just then. What are we doing? And why are we doing it? That's fine. We'll shock you. Just trying to take the opportunity to get some of these things out of the way. Apparently there's a cluster of these pirates still left back here. Did that hit you? It did. And now you put on immunity. Get him. Now, only a few more of these guys. Haven't seen the leader yet. We're working on it. Stasis is not my favorite ability. Like, it is great if you're if you're up against a boss and you're trying to take out some of his minions first, or you need a second to catch your breath. Oh boy. Hi. Like, it helps, because then it's like, okay, I needed to recharge my shields or use some metagel. Now I can.
Go, go, go!
that. Flopping all around. Alright, so leader guy must be upstairs. Yep. Ton Actus. You son of a bitch. Why don't you just freeze for a second while my companions get up here to you? That's the scum.
Target up.
It is over now. And now we get to go find your armor, Wrex.
Let's get moving.
Okay.
This is it. I can't believe my ancestors ever wore this piece of crap. But at least I've got it back.
I'm glad we could help you get it back.
I might just be starting to like you, Shepard.
I might just be starting to like you too, Wrex. Wrex touches his grandfather's armor, his expression thoughtful, perhaps? Krogan are hard to read. Then he shakes off his bemusement and grips his gun with renewed purpose. Time to move on. It is interesting how in this first one they did a combination of like text-based descriptions of things versus actually either animating them or having them be a conversation. Like, I don't know. I like it. I'm with it. It's like, here's what happens, I think they could have animated that, but in a pinch to conserve perhaps funding, for other things, having less of that happen in animations. And more of it, or little bits of it happen in text, especially on these side quests, probably saved them a little bit of budget. So, if they needed to do it that way, I think that it's good to at least have that kind of way of telling you what happens and giving you that nice bit of description. So. Oh, our valuable mineral situation. we need 7 more heavy metals. Making progress though on some of these collection side quest things. We're gonna go find Dr. Saleon now. Oh, we leveled up too. Or at least Wrex did. We're gonna give you some extra. Oh boy. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. Put that point in throw. We're gonna pump that up for you and then start building up your immunity. I didn't mean to put that extra point in barriers. That's annoying. Actually, we can fix that. And last This one goes in shotguns. Alright. Yep. Let's get back to the Normandy and get after Dr. Salion. Although, maybe we can talk to Wrex. Now that we've got his armor back. We should follow up with him. There may not be an extra dialogue right now, but it would make sense for there to be one. So we're gonna see. I don't 100% remember when all of the dialogue kicks in.
Shepard?
You must have family other than your father.
No. Now that I have my family's armor again, there's nothing left for me.
So long, Wrex.
So, that does flag a little bit of a different response there. Interesting. But nothing really new. That's okay. Let's go find Dr. Hart / Salion / asshole. Harvester of... It's just... Growing organs inside people and then harvesting them is... I mean, it's brilliant. Really. You know, because they probably grow better in their quote-unquote natural environment as opposed to a test tube. But it is so sick. Alright, so... Where was Dr. Hart? I have forgotten. Is it the Artemis Tau cluster? Is it the Voyager cluster? Ugh, we're gonna have to look at it. The Kepler Verge. Completely wrong on both counts. Okay, here we go. And so there was only the Newton system here before, but now we have the Herschel system. And that's one thing about these places, like, you go and you explore, and, you know, in each system there's something, and then when you have these new ones that get added, that's the place we're going. When new systems get added based on you know, quests that come up. Nothing to scan here, huh? There's an unknown. Heavy metal, that's what we need, boys. Okay. Let's go take care of Dr. Salion. The Fidel is a Kowloon class modular conveyor of human design. Goodness gracious. It's a mouthful of words. In addition to the standard cargo bay, the hull has several biological research modules attached. I can speak English. Private owner Dr. R. Hart. Let's go get him, Garrus. Controller turned off there for a second. Weird. Okay. We have enemies in here. I want to put on my pistol. Because it is close quarters in here. There was my neural shock. Stasis should be right around the corner. Why did you aim at that? Look at this guy. Oh dear. Ah! Gross. We need Benadryl. He puked on us! He puked on us!
Thank you. Thank you for saving me from those things.
Uh-huh.
Commander, that's him. That's Dr. Saleon.
What? My name is Hart. Dr. Hart. Please, get me out of here.
Are you sure it's him?
Positive. There's no escape this time, Doctor. I'd harvest your organs first, but we don't have the time.
You're crazy. He's crazy! Please, don't let him do this to me.
Now. Time to die, Doctor. So, this guy, he should die. But, like, can we take him in? Is the question.
We'll take him in, drop him off at the military.
But we have him. We can't let him get away. Not again.
If he dies, we'll never know what he's been up to, or how he did it. We'll take him in, interrogate him, and he'll serve his time.
Okay. You're right. You're a very lucky Solarian. You owe the Commander your life.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Now it gets fun.
Now it gets fun. Oh, Liara, you are funny as shit, girl. Look at that. We're gonna spam stasis on you, Doctor.
And so he dies anyway. What was the point of that?
Well, I'll tell you, Garrus. The point is being better than him.
You can't predict how people will act, Garrus, but you can control how you'll respond. In the end, that's what really matters.
Yeah. I don't think I ever met anyone like you, Commander. Well, I guess we're done here.
Saleon's medical equipment is stained with the blood of many species, pale blue, violet, orange, and more than a few dark red. But his work has ended here. Time to head back to the Normandy. Yeah. And that, I think that is an important point, right? Like, that guy deserved to die, and it's a good thing that he did, right? Like, screw him. Screw you. But it's not about him, right? It's about us. and who we are and what we're willing to do and what we let people push us to, right? And I think that is, like, that's a good lesson. It's a good lesson for us, and it's a good lesson for Garrus there. And our description is too low. Ah, oh, sadness. I should have brought Tally. The helm of the ship. Where is the exit? Let's get out of here. And so, yeah, like that. We'll see if he has any more to say. Probably not, but we'll see. That whole thing, right? Like, it's not about that guy living or dying, you know? Because he gets what he deserves if he dies. He gets what he deserves if he spends the rest of his life in a cell, right? It's not about him and his punishment, you know? It's about Garrus, right? It's about Garrus and Shepard and us and what we are willing to do. And how we look at things, and if it's like, do we dole out justice as we see fit, you know? Do we let our emotions sort of push us that far? How do we deal with that, right?
Commander, good to see you.
Ooh. Definitely didn't have anything to say.
Commander, how are you?
Doing good, Garrus. Hope you're okay too, bud. Alright, so we've got a couple of things. Let's head back to the Citadel. Got a couple of things there to wrap up. And I think, like, they're just going through, there might be a couple of other things to do there. Potentially. There are a few things that kind of kick in as we go along. Okay. Alright. So, I'm going to take I'm gonna take Garrus, and I'm gonna take Ashley, because if there is something happening... If there's a particular quest that I want her to be there for, if it's here on the Citadel right now.
Equalizing interior pressure with exterior atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Logged. The commanding officer is ashore. Exo Presley has the deck.
It may not be happening now.
I'm surprised to see you on the front lines, Chief Williams. Most women I've observed in your Alliance military serve in support roles.
It's becoming more common, but it took a long time to prove that ladies could handle an assault rifle or a shotgun.
I doubt anyone who saw your skill under fire could remain skeptical.
They're wearing the same armor. I think. That's funny. Oh, is this woman gonna talk to me again? No, she doesn't want to talk to me right now. Good. Alright, let's go wrap up with Nisana Dangers. Because that was a while ago. Although coming back to the Citadel at this point isn't as much of a pain as it used to be. Because the loading is very much improved. Hello, bitch.
Yes, Shepard? Did you find my sister?
Yes, and you lied to me. Yes, found her.
Dahlia's dead, and I know she was blackmailing you.
So the truth comes out. I hope you're not angry. Surely you can understand why I lied to you. If people found out my sister was a criminal, I'd be considered a security risk. They'd revoke my clearance, or place me on administrative leave until she was apprehended. That is why I misled you. I could not risk you exposing me. But now that Dahlia is out of the picture, it's no longer a problem.
I would have helped if you just told me the truth.
Perhaps you're right. I am sorry. We have trust issues in my family. Obviously. I shall transfer a little something into your account as a token of my appreciation. I'm sure you'll find the amount satisfactory.
You're a diplomat on her way up the ranks. Could be handy to have a Spectre who owes you a favor.
You make a good point. Anyone can come up with credits. But I can give you authorization to purchase prototype Asari mods. I will get you added to our manufacturer's preferred client list. I think you'd be very interested in what they have available. Goodbye, Shepard. It has been a pleasure doing business with you.
That little lying liar. Politics, right? So, if we have it right, that means that, that instead of saying, you know, hey, my sister's a criminal, could you go bring her in? She was like, oh, my sister's kidnapped. Go kill her, you know, go get her captors or whatever. Hoping that we were gonna kill her sister. And not necessarily know. You know, like, probably hoping that she was gonna get away with it. Alright, we get to talk to Conrad Werner again. Our number one fan.
Shepard, it's me, Conrad. There are rumors on the extranet that you've been made the first human Spectre. That's incredible.
Being a Spectre is a big responsibility. I just want to make humanity proud.
The vids are all talking about Commander Shepard fighting for all of us back home. And your grace and skill have inspired a whole legion of admirers, too. Hey, can I get your picture?
Sure.
I don't have a problem with it, but why?
Are you kidding? Nobody will believe that I talked with the beautiful Commander Shepard unless I get a picture. Just hold up your gun. Perfect. Thanks again, Commander. I'm gonna hang this in my living room. My wife will love it.
My wife will love it. He's so weird. Okay. Alright. Let's see. There's a couple of other things that might be available now. We'll see. Nope. Okay. That. So there's a, the one that I wanted Ash here for is the Terra Firma group. They are not here. The other one that I can remember is not the Presidium. Where's Flux? It's not that way. It is this way. I was right next to it. Ah, shells. Yep.
Yeah, what is it?
What's going on?
Why were you tossed out of there?
Doran didn't have a clue what I was doing. He assumed I was cheating.
I know Doran. If he says you're cheating, you're cheating.
I was just tipping the scales in my favor. Only as an experiment.
Still sounds like cheating to me.
To you, maybe. But this device is merely intended to simulate situations and record results. Recording losses is easy, of course. Nobody notices those.
Why do you need to record these outcomes?
Ah, now you're getting to the heart of it. I've spent the last 5 years developing a system that can accurately predict wins and losses on the Quasar. I just need a few more recorded wins and I can complete the algorithms.
Can you do that? Isn't that illegal?
It's illegal to use my system, but I won't use it. I'll sell it to others. I just need a few more wins recorded.
Does the device help me win?
The device is set to emit a frequency that will slightly increase your odds. Nothing like my system eventually will, but enough to allow you to record your wins more quickly.
Why don't you just sell the device then?
What? No. This device is archaic. It uses brute force to achieve its goal. Besides, you saw how easily it was detected. My system, when it's complete, will be far more efficient and completely undetectable.
Does the device help me win?
The device is set to emit a frequency. Okay. Nothing like my system eventually will, but enough to allow you to record your wins more quickly.
What's in this for me?
That's what we wanted.
Keep your winnings. That should be payment enough, I think.
Yeah. But we're not gonna do that.
I think I'll take my chances the old-fashioned way.
Suit yourself. Well, I have some calculations to do. Goodbye.
So does this come up as a quest? Speak to him if you want to help. He says he wasn't actually cheating. He was just gathering data to create a cheating system. What could be wrong with that? Hilarious. So you can do this mission. Can we dance yet? No, we cannot dance. Why can we not dance?
Yes, but there's more. There always is.
Hey, Jenna came back looking for work. Thanks for getting her out of Cora's den.
A
was glad to help out.
Yeah, everyone seems real happy to have her back.
You don't sound that happy about it.
I'm glad she's out of the den. I'd just forgotten what it was like to have her around. I haven't had a decent tip since she got back.
Well, at least she's not in danger anymore.
Hey there, welcome to Flex.
Hey, Jenna. How does this even work? Okay, wait a minute. What do you play? Get closest to 20 without going over. Nice. Truly? So it's a 50-50 shot with X. And you have slightly higher odds with that one. But it gave me too much. Interesting. Interesting little game. So, should we help Shells out when we bring back people who are less morally on the moral high ground than Garrus or Ashley? I don't know. Head back to CSEC and get back on our ship. And I think the next things that we'll probably do are
So Garrus, any regrets about leaving CSEC?
Fighting a rogue specter with countless lives at stake and no regulations to get in the way? I'd say that beats CSEC.
True enough. I'd rather be fighting than trusted to somebody else.
I think the next thing that we'll be doing is the Rogue VI on the moon. And then probably progressing with the
Stand by, shore party.
The main story.
Decontamination in progress. Logged.
Yeah.
The commanding officer is aboard. XO Presley stands relieved.
Okay. Yeah, let's go fight our rogue VI, and then we will wrap it up for this particular session here. Because I think we'll head from there to Pharos. We also have this, which is the DLC, but I think I'll wait on that for a bit. The Sol system. This is so pretty. I love the galaxy map. So we're headed back home. Well, I suppose it's not really home for Shepard in this iteration, because she is a spacer. But home for us. Look at all that. I can't remember if you can actually survey any of these planets. And Pluto's there. Little Pluto. The ice dwarf worlds. So, a little bit more for learning about our solar system. And the moon of Titan is definitely one that is often used in these kinds of games. Neptune, so pretty. Uranus, all rings on its side. Mars, the red planet. So let's take a look at Earth. Look at that. Look at Earth. So pretty. Alright, let's head to Luna. I like how they made the capital of it Armstrong. It's nice. Let's go there and talk to our lovely AI who got exposed to some things. Do we want to take Tally or do we want to take Garrus? Let's take Tally. She's got her AI hacking that we can use here. I might better have taken Garrus and Tally instead of Liara and Tally, but that's okay. Liara's biotics are always very useful. Singularity is my fave. All right, let's see. We've got things to find. It's just so cool driving around the moon, you know? Being like, wee, we're on the moon. got this training facility. Look at Earth there in the background. Oh, so cool. I'm really glad that they chose to do a mission here, you know? Now, Edie, stop trying to kill us. We want to be your friends. Okie dokie. Now, there's 3 of these places where this rogue VI could be. And we probably want to make some saves, because I'm here to tell you, I recall this mission not being easy. Alright. Ship. Point in that. This increases our shields on the Mako. That increases our first aid. Reduces the recharge time of neural shock. Don't necessarily care about this. Let's go with that. And Miss Liara. Should we? Yeah, probably. Okie dokies. Yeah. Let's take a look here. So we've got some cover here. And I think each one of these places gets progressively more difficult. Like, whichever the first one is that you enter, it's got some enemies, but they're not too bad. But it, like, builds up to some crazy stuff. Alright, why don't you hack that? Tally. Oh, holy moly! In the middle of some bad things right now. We just ran right out there into it, didn't we? Not a smart play. Okay. You guys did a grand job of taking care of these things, though. I will say that. hacking. We're working on it. Oh, is Tally? Tally's unconscious. Tally? Girl. Get up.
Send me back in.
Okay.
Fire in the hole!
Whoops. Man, I keep pushing that button sometimes, thinking that I'm gonna reload. But that's not what happens. Alright, so we have some nodes too. Oh, some conduits to destroy. Toxic gas! Oh, no, not toxic gas! Okay. Lights on the optical mainframe flicker and die. The first of 3 computing clusters containing the VI is offline. So yeah, as far as I remember, they get tougher and tougher. And it's funny, like this AI, it is kind of cool how they, and I don't know if they planned all of these connections from the beginning, or if they didn't. I have a feeling they might have, because the original writers for these games were very, like they created these really intricate worlds, you know. This one. Make sure we point to the next one that we need to go to, because you know, I want to remember what I'm doing. You know, they did a lot of foreshadowing in this one for the future games. They originally conceptualized this as a trilogy, rather than a singular game, right? Like this, the first game does, each game has a conclusion, right? Like you deal with the situation that you are presented with as the kind of main issue of that game in each one of them. So you do have sort of an arc. It's not like, and we get part of the way and then it just stops. Like, it is good in terms of, like, you know, it has a conclusion for each. But they do definitely build on themselves and leave that that main thread going through 1 and 2. Back up, y'all, because these assault drones, these drones are no joke. Especially the rocket ones, man. The rocket ones can blast you quite well. Hack you. I don't understand why it's still attacking us. Like, if it's hacked, doesn't that imply that it should not be attacking us? What is up with that nonsense? We are just got wrecked. What just happened? It looked like I pressed overload and we just died. But something must have exploded. That's crazy. Alright, the question is, did we do the first one? Oh, we gotta do the first one again, I swear. Dormouse, you gotta save in between these things. So yeah, they did do a fair amount of planning, you know, for the future. Not that every single detail was planned out, but I wonder if they originally intended for this AI to come back into things. Or if they just were like, you know, we had that AI on Luna. We could do something with it. I don't know. I want to think that that this was by intent, you know? Let's back up, y'all. I'm telling you, these drones are mean. Fall back. Use damping. Yeah, like I definitely want to believe that they were like, okay, so we're gonna introduce this like rogue AI on Luna, and you're gonna go and you're gonna fight it, and then later though you're gonna find out more about it and why it existed here, you know? All right. Here's what we're gonna do this time. Ugh, pissed off. Okay. Oh, was there anything else in here? I don't think so. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, and I don't know if they've said, or if they would say, like, I don't know. Some developers and writers are really good about saying, you know, yeah, we planned this from the beginning, or, you know, we didn't really plan that from the beginning, but we had this great idea, you know, during the process of writing the second, you know, game or the second book or the second movie. Some writers are really upfront about their creative process. Others are like, you don't get to know our artistic integrity is too sound. And, you know, that is what it is. Okay. Why? Please, no. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Tally, you're blocking my exit. We need to save, because that's what we didn't do last time. Don't be idiots. Okay. Now. Come on. Okie dokies. Okay. Well, that's the second group of... Oh, there's more. Hold on. Can you pack this guy? Okay. Now, we have more nodes. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we can get them all blown up. Kinetic barrier fields powering up throughout the bunker complex. So that's interesting. So as you're getting poisoned, these things now have barriers in front of them. You can fairly easily get around. Second of 3, offline. Oops. Let's use some Metagel. And get our squad mates' health back, shall we? So yeah, again, like each time you do one of these, it gets like progressively more difficult. And now we're about to do the last one. And shut down this VI, but not for good. What we think is for good.
Securing point.
Alright. Again, let's make a save. Because this stuff gets nuts. Fall back. Fall back. Come on back, Liara. Get out of the kill zone. Thank you. Rockets. Oops, not that. Okay. Woo! They were all incredibly aggressive, weren't they? They were like, you will not destroy our core. Security drones. Come here. Hack that drone, Tally. While we blow the rest of these things up. Okay. So, yep. And I've done this on Insanity before. And let's just say that it is not easy. It's not easy. Alright, burst of white noise over all frequencies nearly deafens you. Your hardsuit's heads-up display interprets it into a series of zeros and ones. And I'm sure someone has decoded that. Let's see if the internet has decoded that. I'm curious now. Okay. It's binary for help. Yeah. Which makes perfect sense. They repeat again and again, blanketing all frequencies until the lights on the final VI cluster flicker and die. So this AI is going to become a very important character as we continue on, and we'll find out more as we move forward about it and about what happens. So this is not a VI. This is an AI, and we'll find out more about what happened with this in the next games. So, but for now, we have completed this, and this is where we get our specialization class. And so we can go in and do that. So let's see. Improves barrier and stasis, or improves first aid and neural shock. Well, I use these more often than I use these. So I will choose medic. And you can now increase that a little bit more. So nice. Nice. Yeah, that's cool. This poor AI was crying out for help, and that's what this was about. Setting into motion. So sweet. Well, that is that wrapped up. I'm gonna head back to the ship. And I think that's going to wrap us for this particular session. I got all of the little side quests out of the way. And I am going to continue on with Pharos in the next one. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this has been entertaining for you. I hope you're enjoying our little romp through Mass Effect and my, thoughts, coherent or incoherent as they may be, as we go along. You guys take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.